Joining me now live right here in Nairobi is the Secretary General for Central Organization of Trade Unions, that is COTU. Gen Francis Atwoli is joining me live here. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning, SG. So what is your take on how the government is dealing with COVID-19 so far?
First and foremost, I want to thank the CS Honorable Tai Kagwe for the good job he's doing, particularly briefing Kenyans on the emerging challenges and the development that is taking place as far as this virus is concerned. He has been visible and he has been advising Kenyans, and he has taken charge on behalf of the Kenya government. And I want also to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President on the initiative he took to make sure that in those other sectors that can economically survive are supported. But that is not enough. We have a lot of things to do to make sure that this virus does not completely put our economy in the ICU.
What are those things that you're saying we need to do? What more do you think needs to be done?
What should be done, and this is what we intend to discuss with the Federation of Kenya Employers, is to see as per how we can make a very common and a lowly placed worker survive, and particularly those who are in SMEs, those small and medium enterprises. Because as you know, Trevor, our huge economy is in informal economy. And informal economy in Kenya drives formal economy. So we should not let the informal economy die. And this is where the government should be keen watching to see how we can make the informal economy survive. These small enterprises, so small and medium enterprises, this is where our money is. And these people must be supported to remain in their businesses. To do so, we must start with making sure that where they stay, including workers, how are they going to survive in the coming 3 months? This is April, May, and June. And what government can do should take direct initiative to make sure that employers and those businessmen, particularly landlords, are exempted on a lot of taxes, so that the coming 3 months, workers and the lowly placed people in small and medium enterprises are not asked to pay rents, for example. Because for us to survive, particularly as Kenyans, and particularly those Kenyans who are based in urban centers, we must stay there put. And the advice from the government is that we should not take this virus to our own rural homes. To do so and to remain relevant in these cities or in these urban areas, the landlords or landowners or people who have properties must be supported not to ask rent for the coming 3 months, so that these lowly placed Kenyans can survive. I can tell you what, if you go to hotels, all of our hotels are closed. We have floriculture industry, which is on its knees because there are no buyers of flowers or no buyers of horticulture abroad. And as you are aware, our hospitality industry is on its own knees. No tourism is working, and no anything that can make our economy be on the move is in place. And therefore, for the coming 3 months, Kenyans are going to have a big challenge as far as surviving in these cities are concerned. And it is only government, including Central Bank of Kenya, making sure that issues related to taxation and what have you, Kenyans who are in business are exempted, so that they can also have mercy on their employees and lowly placed Kenyans who survive from hand to mouth. So that is how we can be able to survive. And this requires what we as workers call solidarity. Yeah. All of us must be in solidarity to assist one another to make sure that Kenyans survive. And including even those people who are the middle class wage earners. Yeah. Are not going, like you, Trevor. It will be very difficult for you to pay your rent when we have been asked that, like at your place, you are asked to do away with about 30% in solidarity with what is happening. We are trying also, we are doing the same in labor movement and everywhere. So if we are to enter this solidarity call, we must be very considerate, employers, we as workers, and look, we are now going to have, we have said that sectoral best unions must meet their employers to see that, to see into it that collective bargaining and other requirements for workers are put on hold because of this virus. So this virus, if we are not careful, currently our economy is in ICU.
Yeah, SG, you're recommending maybe people not to pay rent for 3 months, and it is true people are taking pay cuts and others are being laid off. What is the plan going forward in terms of what next steps? So that recommendation, where are you taking it, and what more are you going to add on to it? Because the government is saying that pay as you earn needs to reduce to 25%. Is that enough?
No, it is not enough, because you see, you are reducing and you are demanding a certain percentage from an economy that is not performing, from employer who is not making money. All restaurants in Kenya, all hotels, all other enterprises, as I've told you, particularly the agricultural sector of our economy, where I represent workers, and in so many other areas are closed. People are not working, and even if you had money and you are in business, you might find that the people you are doing with business are not in the offices. We have all been asked to stay at home. There is curfew. And in such a manner, you don't need to demand even a single cent as far as taxation is concerned. Now people are fighting for survival. It is just like wartime. And when people are asking for their survival and they want support from their government, this is where government comes in first to make sure that things related to taxation and what have you, people are exempted. If we exempt taxation to if we exempt our landlords from taxation, they will also be considerate to their tenants. They will say, for the coming 3-4 months, let us put aside our demands as far as rental issues are concerned. And this is where we are appealing to the Kenya government, and we are meeting the Federation of Kenya Employers and the Ministry of Labour as social partners to make sure that if we can jointly also brief the head of state on this issue, so that he can come in and make sure that rental issues and what have you to the lowly placed Kenyans and middle income wage earners are exempted for the coming 3 months. Otherwise, you are not going to survive, my friend.
SG, I've had you give 2 recommendations so far. So 1, rent should not be paid for the next 3 months, and 2, there should be zero taxation. But how will the government survive without taxation?
In such a manner, let me tell you, as I've said, it is just like wartime. If people are fighting, there is nothing that is happening. The economy is down. The economy is in ICU. And as at one time, I was listening to the cabinet secretary in charge of health, Kagwe. He was saying, what will benefit Kenyans if all of you died because of this virus? You will not be able to bring the economy back on the rails. And for us to sit, and because there's no any mechanism in place currently that can spur economic growth when people are at home and people are worried of their next steps and whom they are going to meet as far as this virus is concerned. So the only best thing, let's take this. You can see those countries that have completely locked down. They have closed everything. We are a little bit still surviving because we can walk here and there. But that is not enough. When things come serious, we don't know what government is going to come up with. So this is not the time to say, oh, government wants to get taxes. You cannot get a tax from a dead organ. We must be alive to these facts that government should be considerate and take lead and make sure that Kenyans survive this virus. As I've said, we are going to go through this. It is not, we should not be worried that we will lose a lot of people, because I'm happy with the steps the government is trying to take. But it should also do more than what they are trying to do. Government must work out and make sure that everybody has masks and everybody is protected as Kenyans. But above all, Kenyans survive under this hardship condition. And the most important area, those 2 areas that we have cited. 1, we exempt both the employers and landowners on taxation. Zero completely. And we appeal to them also to be considerate to their tenants and people who are in small and medium enterprises.
Okay.
Because as I've told you, our huge economy is in small and medium enterprises. And this is the area that drives formal economy. And we should not let these people die or get out of Nairobi for their own survival. Okay. We will not be able to rebuild our economy when this virus goes away.
All right, SG, now what rules should be used now for the layoffs because of your members? Because now there is no advance notice, there's no payoffs. How do we have
advised. Yes. Now we have advised our affiliates of COTU who numbers up to 44 affiliates. We have asked them that they should meet their employers in their sectoral area because our unions are industrial-based unions, and see how best they can make workers not be terminated or be declared redundant or be dismissed on their employments and in solidarity with what is happening. Those who have leave, we have said they should be given leave. Those who are not on leave and there is nothing they are doing, they should go home on unpaid leave in some other areas. This is the only way we can assist, and immediately we get out of this problem, they will all come back in their respective places of work. This is we in Kenya Plantation and Agricultural Workers Union. We have already met the Agricultural Employers Association, and we have had a memorandum of understanding that nobody will be dismissed, nobody will be sacked. Those who have leave can go on leave. Those who don't have leave, they can be given leave in advance. And those who are not doing anything, if they want to stay in their places of work, they should be able to stay, but none of them will be dismissed or sacked. And this is what we have advised our affiliates to make sure that they have joined meetings with their employers and they agree on a way forward, and more importantly, on how they should be able to protect workers. Because we understand the situation now. We have closed down so many big businesses, and as I've said, our hotels and everything, but these workers should just be on leave so that immediately after this problem, they will be recalled back and start working.
Yeah. SG, now we have the Coronavirus Response Fund. What do you think should be their priorities, those who've been nominated by the president?
These people should be very serious, particularly by making sure that testing gears, Kenyans have testing gears, so that everybody is tested. If you go to the airport, you should have a really big test, not this issue of people trying to check about your temperature and what have you. Testing gears must almost be everywhere in clinics. This should be their priority, so that we can be able to isolate whoever has this virus and make sure he's treated before he distributes the same to other innocent Kenyans. So this is where those people who are charged with the responsibility with this virus fund should be able to look at. Testing gears are very important, and protective gears to those people who are in the field of medical provision, particularly our doctors, nurses, and so on. They should be protected. And to be protected, they must have really proper protective gears, and government make sure that some are insured, because this is a really wartime. Kenyans are fighting, and globally, the whole world is fighting this virus. I can tell you it has affected some of us in the world of work. As you are aware, we have postponed very important 2 meetings at the International Labour Organization because of this virus. And therefore, it is affecting almost everybody. And it is not only our country, but we must do more to protect Kenyans from this virus. You remember, Trevor, when we had our first aeroplane landing at Jomo Kenyatta Airport, I was one of the first people to blame the Kenya government as per how they could allow such huge number of people to get into Kenya from China without protecting Kenyans. And the young man who did film this, patriotic Kenyans, you can imagine they went ahead and sacked him because of making sure Kenyans are aware of what was happening at the airport. And this is what we normally say, these are the effects of corruption. When you hear us saying corruption is a bad think that is what it can do to Kenyans. Most people came into Kenya because they were not properly looked at, they were not properly checked at the airports and points of entry, and we must be serious on this as a nation. We must be patriotic, we must protect our country, and we must speak without fear when something of that kind is happening.
Yeah.
So we are now in this problem because some of us and our people relaxed, particularly those who are supposed to take measures to protect Kenyans.
Yeah.
And this is not enough. We still have our domestic flights from here to Mombasa, from here to Kisumu and other places. This should be strictly checked. Who is getting into these aeroplanes and so on?
Yeah.
Well, those people who are getting into these aircrafts must be properly checked.
Yeah.
And this is why we want testing gears in every airport and in any point of entry, Namanga, Busia, and everywhere that we have exits so that we can protect our own people. You can see what the Ugandans have done.
Yes.
They are really serious on this issue.
SG,
and we should not take it as a joke.
SG, you brought
because
up,
it will finish our Kenyans.
Yes, SG, you brought up the issue of speaking out when there's need for it. Our members of parliament are incredibly quiet right now. What should be their priorities to cushion Kenyans? What should they be thinking about right now?
You know, I'm surprised. If you can remember, Trevor, in the United States of America, Parliament was convened immediately to, first of all, to caution the American economy and the American people and American workers. And a lot of funds were released to do that job because the Parliament had met. Up to date, our Parliament has not met to discuss these issues. And the parliamentarians should be the last people to say that we are afraid of coming together because of this virus. This is war. And when there is war, the patriotic Kenyans are supposed to be on front line. Like me here, I should have my children. I should release some of my children to go and fight to protect this country. This is how we should behave. And we should not say, I want to stay put because I'm fearing to contract this virus. You know, coronavirus is something that is with us here. And parliamentarians should be on forefront to go to parliament and debate and talk without fear and plant a sense of direction into Kenyans and Kenyan masses and advise government as per how to come out of this and speak and tell Kenyans where there are shortcomings either in the government or in the Ministry of Health, or why are we not doing it more than what we are doing. Let me tell you something I saw. You know, people are saying that there should be social distancing and so on. If you look what is happening in our matatus currently, you will be surprised that there is nothing like that. And these are the things that we should be able to address. You go to some places, people don't know whether this virus is existing. Awareness is just for those people who have television, for those people who are in the urban centers and so on. But what about our people who are in rural areas where these members of parliament are supposed to be? Most of them are holed here in Nairobi. Instead of being in their constituencies and talking to their people, the way I saw the women rep of Murang'a doing, Sabina Chege. This is the way we should go ahead, how to distribute masks to people, to advise people how they should protect themselves, and in case you contracted or you are infected with this virus, how do you come out of it? This is the education Kenyans want. Yeah. And if you are not in the hospital, how do you treat yourself even if you are in your own house? The members of parliament, our senators, our leaders should take a leading role to make sure that Kenyans are protected. And this is why they were elected. Yeah. And most of our people fear talking. Most of our people are happy when they are hero worshipping their masters instead of being themselves and saying what is good to for this country.
Yeah. SG, right now, you know what most Kenyans are worried about is where they will get their food from. What should the government be thinking in terms of feeding people? Should we have a relief program now? We also have locusts ravaging in the farms. What is the way forward now?
I think the way forward, I had the Minister for Agriculture talking about importation of maize and what have you, but at the same time, the leaders in Uasin were complaining that there is plenty of maize in the country that Kenya government, through the cereals board, they are supposed to buy and they are not buying. These are where we should be looking at, so that we have enough food in store, and Kenya as a government has another junk of food to distribute to those people who will not be able to survive this virus. People who live like our people in slums, they need assistance. Our people in a pathetic situation, particularly those who have been sent on leave without salaries, because people will not be able to earn these coming 3 months. How do they survive? And they have children in school. This is where government comes in handy by providing food to these people. And I'm not seeing that happening, because we must support those organizations that deal with hunger, and those civil societies or NGOs that are out there to make sure that nobody dies here. You can remember it has happened in China, where we have about 1.4, 1.5 billion people, and nobody died because of hunger, because government was serious and it made sure that people survive. And we must be serious towards that end and make sure that nobody dies because of hunger, instead of this virus. This virus should not make people die because of hunger. And this is where we want the Minister for Agriculture, as I listened to him recently, to work closely with the Minister of Health, to work closely with the Minister of Internal Security, and make sure that they assist His Excellency the President by making sure that no Kenyan dies. I'm happy of what other organizations are doing, trying to distribute food in Mathare, trying to distribute food in Kibera, but that is not enough. We want to see the hand of government in this.
Okay. Should we consider lockdown, SG?
I'm not 100% for lockdown, because, you know, a fragile economy such as ours here, so many people might not be able to survive if we did that. But if need be, we can do it for not more than 14 days or 7 days to make sure. And by that time, we should be testing people and making sure that we have converted so many places into hospitals. People are being treated. Because if we don't do that, if we are not careful, this is how it started in Italy. People took it for granted, and eventually it became a worst thing. We can be able to protect ourselves by weighing out. As the number keeps on increasing, some measures must be put in place to protect our nation. And you cannot rule out a lockdown if the need be.
SG, the other thing that has happened is the leaders have taken a voluntary pay cut. First of all, have you taken a pay cut?
On contributing what I have for this particular fund?
Yes.
Yeah, we are. I personally, you know, if I can tell you what I do, you'll be surprised. I'm involved in a lot of assisting so many people, and this is what I normally do. So that is not new to me. And we have already circulated a circular to our people to make sure that each and every affiliate of COTU works out, because our affiliates are free and independent trade unions. They work out on a certain percentage of making sure that they contribute to this fund. Immediately when the minister for our minister in charge of Treasury, when he announced that he has put some mechanism in place as per where to send this money, I gave instruction to our people in the office to make sure that all general secretaries, I included, we do away with about 30% and towards this. So we will be also working out on a solid fund to make sure that we contribute to this. Because you see, the recipients and the people who are suffering, the majority of them are workers. COTU represents about 4 million members, and we are sure this number after this virus, it might go down. because of some companies might not be there, some companies might close down, because some companies or some hotels cannot survive after closing for a month or 3 months and so on. But we are praying hard that we keep our employers in business, and this is why I'm appealing to the government to make sure that they are not molested as far as issues of taxes is concerned. Because tax we can negotiate even on whichever time when we are out of this problem. And government can waive this issue of tax when we are in such a war period. We are fighting something that we are not seeing. But we as committed Christians, we believe that each and everything that comes has an end, and this will pass, and it will pass safely, because this is a big test God has put into the world to make sure that if some people, particularly those people who are fond of corruption, cheating, lying, doing some funny things, they are now all equal before the hands of God, before this virus. And this is what God wanted to remind us.
Okay, and SG, now you see that it's tricky that you bring up the issue of is there a possibility for COTU to go to court to ensure that people are reimbursed at the end of it? Because some employers will just decide to lay off and not bring back those people who had been laid off during this period. Are you going to fight for the workers?
That will not happen. Trevor, that is why we have allowed our affiliates to negotiate with their employers. Say, for example, those who are in the media where you are, we have asked the Secretary General, Eric Oduor, to make sure that he has a meeting with the media owners to work out on a way forward that will be safe and protective to working men and women within the media industry. Those in the agricultural sector where I represent workers, they do the same. Those in commercial union, where we have shops, where we have things like KCC and so on, they also have their own meeting with their employers to work out how safe somebody will go and live without losing his or her job. This is what we have done. So, and those in textile industries, we have said like that, because if you are, most of textile industries have closed down, EPZs and so on. We have asked the Secretary General of that particular union, Reverend Joel Kandiechebi, to make sure that he meets his employers, to make sure that even those who will be sent at home, because of this virus, they don't lose their employment.
Okay. And SG, you said that you're going to meet FKE and then maybe the president. What are the timelines for this so that workers would know when this cushioning is coming? Because your two main, first of all, your two main agendas are the issue of rent and lifting of all taxes, right? Or is there more?
Absolutely. When such occurrence takes place, where all of us, we are in a quagmire, we take various measures to make sure that each and everyone survives. Part of what I have told you, those are some of the measures we have already taken. And as you are aware, if it were not that because of this virus, and sometimes it takes time before you see the head of state, all my colleagues throughout the world, they have met their heads of states to give out their proposals to make sure that the majority of the taxpayers that they represent, because without workers, there will be no taxes. They have a way out to protect them. And that is why every worker and workers' leaders are respected all over the world. And we want to thank our employers through the Federation of Kenya Employers. They are also concerned about the fate of workers under the leadership of Jacqueline Mugo, who is the executive director of the Federation. They are also working closely with us and on their own too to protect workers. And I'm sure Kenyans, most of our workers will not be dismissed. And this is an issue we would like to discourage both the Central Organization of Trade Unions and affiliates going to court because of this virus. This virus was not forecast. Nobody knew it would be happening. It's a tragedy to all of us. And that is why we are calling for solidarity and understanding, so that no employer works on his own. or comes out to frustrate the efforts of making sure that nobody suffers as a result of this virus.
Okay. SG, almost a decade after devolution, we know now that more than 22 counties don't even have ICU facilities. What is the missing link here, and what should they learn from this pandemic?
You know, let me tell you, if there is something good that happened to this country, was devolution. And I know most of these, both the national government and the county governments are in learning processes. But after sometimes, say about 10 years or so, they would have understood how best it is. That is how it was in the country where it started, in those nations or countries where devolution was put in place, like Nigeria. People had to take time to understand. And the first governors of Nigerian devolved system were all put in jail because their priorities were wrong. They thought that after having been elected as a governor, you can now use the taxpayers' money left and right without due regard to lay down procedures and making sure that you do a better job in that particular county. I will give you a good example. I want you, Trevor, to take time and go to Kakamega County and go with your camera. Don't forget your camera. See the good work Governor Paranya has done in that county. Even on markets, they are tarmacked. There is tarmac everywhere. There is nowhere, even you know, in Western Kenya, we have plenty of rain and what have you. Go and see the massive health center, the hospital he has put up in Kakamega. Bigger maybe than Kenyatta National Hospital. I want you to go there and see that massive job this guy has done. So I think, and also what Kivuta Kibwana has done, some county governments have done commendable job, and as I've told you, we are in learning process. Most of us, we will be able to understand. Now, what people are worried, for example, in this devolved system, in those counties that have done very well, like Kakamega, that those governors who are doing their last term, what will happen when they exit? Will it be, will things remain the same? So this is a learning process that will take us about 10 years and so, to make sure that we need hospitals, we need full-fledged good schools in these areas, we need good roads, we need properly organized systems of governance that touches each and everyone in these county governments. Trevor.
SG, what is your final word to Kenyans as we wind up?
I would appeal to Kenyans to keenly listen to health providers, particularly CS Minister of Health, and also I would appeal to both employers and entrepreneurs in this country and landlords to heed our call that for the coming 3 months, let them not ask rents from the poor Kenyans who have been sent at home. Most of them have been sent at home on unpaid leave, and these people will not be having anything into their pockets. And this is the only way we can show solidarity. This is the only way we can show love of one another. This is the only way that this virus, coronavirus, would know that it has brought us together as Kenyans. Trevor, now, we have no any political party, we have no Kieleweke, we have no Tanga, we have no groups, because this virus has equalized everybody. It has equalized thieves, it has equalized rich men, it has equalized members of parliament, and some have gone into hiding, and now you cannot hear them. And this is the time that we should be considerate to one another and make sure that we remain as Kenyans and we remain people. Even those who stole money, now they cannot use that big, huge of money. Hotels are closed. Those good buildings and lodgings where they used to go and squander this money, they are all closed. This shows that please be merciful and be mindful, as President Moi had taught us, of other people's welfare.
All right. Thank you, SG.